My name is Prabjeet, and I am with abpeducation.com. Uh, Currently, I would like to introduce to you the fourth webinar in the Campus to Career series. But before that, let me tell you about ABP Education. We are a recently launched website that is into education related news, basically higher education, and a lot about information in admissions, courses, latest updates in basically everything for students and educators. We are powered by Anandabazar.com and the Telegraph. So now coming down to the fourth webinar in the Campus to Career series, the first webinar started on the 12th of August with the Bengal Education Leaders Summit with Education Minister Partho Chatterjee being a part of it. And today's topic is new opportunities in tech, computer science, computer applications, and IT. So now I would like to introduce to you all our elite panel. It starts with Professor Dr. Anupam Basu, Director, National Institute of Technology, Durgapur. He is also Professor on Lean, Department of Education, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, IIT Kharagpur. He has also taught at the University of California at Irvine and at the University of Guelph, Ontario, Canada. Welcome, Mr. Basu. Professor Dr. 𝐄𝐻𝐭 𝐫𝐭, Group CEO, Techno India Group and Dean, STEM, Sister Nivedita University. In the past, Dr. 𝐫𝐭 has served as President and Global CEO of JK Technosoft, a holding company of the JK Group. Welcome, Mr. 𝐫𝐭. Mr. Vinod Kumar Rajagopal, Partner and Associate Director, Digital Transformation at Boston Consulting Group. He has been with IBM Global Business Services for 17 years. In IBM, he was the Chief Architect for the ASEAN Strategy and Analytics Practice. He joined BCG Technology Consulting Practice 6 years ago. Welcome, Mr. Rajagopal. Next on the panel is Dr. Chandrakant Adak, Assistant Professor, Center for Data Science, JIS Institute of Advanced Studies and Research, Kolkata. He completed his PhD in Analytics from the University of Technology, Sydney, Australia. He was the Dr. Kalam Doctoral Scholar. After his PhD, he worked as a researcher in the Computational Intelligence and Brain-Computer Interface Center, UTS, where he was the principal investigator of a project funded by the Australian Defence. Welcome, Dr. Adak. Next on the panel is Mr. Partho Chatterjee, Head, Data and Analytics, Shell Trading and Supply. He was head of Strategy for Product Management at OpenLink Financial previously, which OpenLink Financial is the global leader for financial products and technology. An IIT computer scientist and gold medalist in the USA. He went to USA on a NASA scholarship in 1987. Great to have you on the panel, Mr. Chatterjee. And I'm now introducing our moderator, Mr. Akhil Gupta, co-founder and Chief Technology Officer, NoBroker.com, the world's largest customer-to-customer real estate portal. Mr. Akhil holds a dual degree, BTech and MTech from the Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, and has worked with Oracle before setting up NoBroker. Mr. Akhil took the entrepreneurial leap in 2014, where he co-founded NoBroker.com to revolutionize the house hunting experience. Welcome, Mr. Gupta, and now I hand over the session to you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for the detailed introduction of each panelist, Prabjeet. So I'll quickly tell you what exactly is NoBroker, and then after that we'll speak to all the panelists. So NoBroker, as you mentioned, is a real estate portal And the way we are different across the globe is that we don't have any broker and we don't have any field force to help you get the transaction, which can be buying a house, renting a house, or anything related to house, which can be your house cleaning services, which can be your rent payment and all. And the way we started around 6 years back, and everything which happens on no broker happens on technology. So we are present in 11 cities in India at this point of time. We are not in Kolkata, and uh, we have just one office and no field force. So that company, we have around 2,500 employees who are working for us. As we speak, we save more than 1,200 crores of brokerage annually for our customers, and we have raised $150 million, which is close to 1,000 crores in funding from marquee investors like General Atlantic, who has recently invested in Geo Platforms, and Tiger Global, who was a lead investor in Flipkart.com. So whole of the journey for me has been in technology, and how exactly I have seen how technology has shaped up industries and how exactly technology has changed the way traditional businesses used to work. So opening up the panel, I'll want to go over the panel to understand from each one of you that what do you think are the opportunities which are coming in using tech data, and what are your views on that particular side, like how exactly technology is opening up new opportunities in science, which is using computer science, maybe data science or information technology. So if we can start with Dr. Adak to get his views on how exactly he has seen the role of technology in new opportunities in technologies, and maybe move to the panel one by one.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Chandra from JIS Institute of Advanced Studies and Research, and I have seen this technological field for the last almost 12 years. So, in the like before 12 years, like I did not see enough computers and mobiles like in my surroundings, but today's like I can see like enough mobiles and the electronics device surrounding me. So everywhere is the technology I can see. So there, if there are lots of electronics device and computers, so there will be obviously enough opportunity will be there. I can mention few fields like database administrator, like software developers or web developers and mobile application developers, like everywhere. Everywhere it is related to technology. And if you go other fields, like for example, say biology or say chemistry, so everywhere you require some computational knowledge, because everywhere computer is situated, everywhere the mobile is required. So everywhere I think there is opportunity, and student can grab knowledge on this field. And particularly in our institute, we focus on machine learning, data science, and other fields like bioinformatics and sensor technologies and IoT. So this all the fields are emerging, and it will boom. Obviously, it will boom. And I will speak later on, like more.
Sure. Thank you. So coming to Mr. Partha, and to understand what are his views, and how he think technology is bringing up new opportunities, and is technology only bringing up new opportunities, or they are killing the old kind of jobs also? What exactly are your thoughts, Mr. Partha? You are on mute. You may want to unmute first.
Thank you. Um, Technology has evolved in a very interesting way. It's 4:30 a.m. in Houston right now, and we are on Zoom. And technology, I came to this country 33 years back to work on computer vision, which is recognizing images. Now think about how technology has disrupted. Now you have a different problem. At that time, NASA was spending millions to recognize what are the different sites. Now you have a different problem because the technology has disrupted life. Now if you take a picture and load in Facebook, it automatically recognizes who your friends are and tags it, and now you say, and your kid or your friend who doesn't want to be tagged is automatically tagged. Why? Because a very hard problem has been solved and has become part of daily life. Previously, we could not get phone calls, 30 years back. It was difficult to make international calls. Technology has made it possible so that thousands of people can be on Zoom, talk to each other, discuss. So the way to see technology is technology enables new features which you could never think of. You could 30 years back, you could never think you could watch Indian cricket on a cell phone, on in your pocket. So the potential of technology is vast because it does not stay as a very esoteric computer box. It stays, it becomes part of your life. It becomes a cell phone, it becomes a smartwatch, it becomes a smart device. And that's why it may automate some jobs, but it will create many more jobs. And the same question came when cars came into existence a century back. People thought, what will happen to guys who are driving horses and pulling carts and stuff, because new opportunities have come. And this is the same way you can think of now. Instead of STD booths and other things, you will see there are more jobs in cell phone repair shops, cell phone companies. There will be more jobs as data scientists. There will be more jobs in automation. And all this will actually help create many more jobs, because technology will impact lives all through the different domains of life, be it in education, be it in home service or medical sciences. And everyone with a brain will benefit from this trend. So that's my hopeful potential for technology. Thank you.
Thank you. Very well said, Mr. Partha. So moving on to the panel, coming to Dr. Bose. So, what are your views, Dr. Bose? Like, how exactly technology is shaping up new opportunities? And as I asked Mr. Partha also, does it really take away the jobs, or it's just the opportunity enabler?
So, that technology is a job enabler, and technology creates more job than it kills job. And then the same perception goes with the robot kills, if the 2 job, then robot creates a 5 more job. And if you look at that, technology created the largest wealth over last decade, and it's going to create the more wealth for the next decade as well. So there are the plethora of opportunities in computer, IT, and computer application, and depends on the who and what skill. It could be in the low-end computer job to the high-end, like the space scientist job. Everywhere is a technology. So there's no shortage. And the most important part depends on what you want to do. So the students or the people, those who are attending today, they need to find out themselves that what I would like to do and how I'd like to see myself in that. But there's no shortage, because 13% of our growth in technology year after year, and 8% of GDP, Indian GDP, contributed by the technology, particularly in IT. So as of 2020, we have about 4.36 million people are employed in the IT world. So there are many such statistics are there, so which shows that the one common statistics. I moved from industry to tech academics, so I have a good connect over the networks in them. Every day average I receive 50 WhatsApp messages or phone call. Can I get my son admitted in computer science or IT or something? So I don't have to really pitch for what is the demand for the IT, what is the career option for that. The course and the things, it speaks itself. And we at Sister Nivedita University or Techno India Group, so I don't think we have to brag about ourselves. So it's well known.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bose. Coming to Mr. Vinod Kumar Rajgopalan, sir, trying to understand from you that in BCG, how exactly technology and the data has helped consulting companies, and how exactly has technology, I'm sure 10, 15 years back, when technology was not this great, or maybe the use of data, machine learning, AI was not that much. Since then, has technology enabled consulting in terms of the kind of work what you do? You can do it faster, and has it reduced the number of people who were doing that particular job, or it has benefited consulting industry overall?
Yeah, great question. If I actually just take a step back, I mean, if you see, when I started my career, I mean, we were talking about information technology, which was IT, which was about programming computers, right? I mean, in today's context, if I look back, it is no longer information technology. I mean, technology is almost a way of life, because technology starts at like another age of 2 or 3. As long as you can actually have capacity to hold up your phone, I mean, you start with technology today, and it's as powerful as the computers that people used to use. So if you look at technology becoming a way of life everywhere, right? I mean, that sort of is changing every industry, right? I mean, I started off as a hardcore technology programming, development and those kind of stuff, and spent a significant amount of time in IBM working on hardcore technology. But then what happens is, like, how is this technology getting applied today in today's world? I mean, if you look at today's world, how is it applied? I mean, anywhere where there is automation, there is a need for precision, there is need for something to be repeated. I mean, there is a need for people to be lazy, take their hands off, they want to waste their time. It's all technology, right? Technology is the answer. Now, having said that, now if we take consulting firms, I mean, take companies like BCG, it's a management consulting firm. And their primary objective when they started was strategy consulting. It was not about technology. Today it's got to a stage where, like, there is no strategy consulting without technology. I mean, you cannot tell a company how to transform or change themselves, which does not include technology. Right? Forget about company, right? I mean, you cannot tell an individual how to change your way of living without introducing technology in the picture, right? So the shift is big. The technology has become big, but I think the key thing which I would want to talk about here is, like, how technology has sort of become embedded in everything that we do, right? Rather than technology being a stream of study or a stream of work, technology is sort of embedded everywhere, right? I mean, all the way from temples to hospitals to legal systems to, like, back offices, everywhere there is tech. So I think there's a different way of looking at technology from the way we started to now, where technology being a stream of study to technology being everything. So I can do whichever stream of study I'm studying, and then I learn technology in that stream of work on how to automate and get precisions there.
Thank you. Thanks for your perspective, Mr. Rajgopal. So coming to Dr. Basu, who's the director at NIT Durgapur. So, sir, trying to understand from you. So so I think on the panel, everybody agrees that technology is a great enabler, and technology more or less creates more jobs, and it changes the kind of job which we do. Like Mr. Partha mentioned that when cars were introduced, there was a fear that people will lose jobs, but then there were different kind of jobs. I'm sure the car repair job came up, and similarly when mobiles were introduced, there is a jobs which can be for mobile repair and all. So now how has education changed? So because we keep hearing a lot that India is producing high number of engineers, but these engineers are not employable. So we have computer science engineers, like in my company, no broker also, we have 1,000 plus, 1,500 plus call center employees. And there is a very big number of computer science engineers who are doing the call center back office job, correct? So wanted to get your perspective that when technology is an enabler and we can have amazing job opportunities on technology, how exactly education, how exactly colleges should be teaching so that these people are more employable, and we should not have we don't have to listen that the engineers in India are not employable.
Well, I agree with the previous speakers, some of them. who said that CS and IT is embedded everywhere. I also feel the same. Today, whatever device and whatever tasks we do, we find information technology there. No, there is no escape. And the frontiers are very rapidly changing. Now, coming to the question of very firmly stating that with the advent of technology, jobs will be created more, is questionable in my mind. When we talk of jobs, of course, there will be different categories of jobs. Now, as you have rightly said, that there are a number of computer science graduates who are working in the back office of the call centers. They were not trained for that, right? They were not trained for that. So the jobs are becoming different. Yes, there are jobs, but not necessarily there are IT jobs, and they are not the top level of IT jobs. We are probably creating, more engineers, more CS graduates in India than there are jobs, or there will be jobs in coming future, which really require CS graduates. That's one thing. They will need graduates, and they will be somewhere in the overall scheme of things, but they will not, all of them will not be at the core. So if we just think of CS education, I think there are a couple of things. One is that the colleges who are imparting this education must have the infrastructure. By infrastructure, it was till now believed to have a good building, good lab, good playground, good hostel. That is desirable. But most importantly, I feel excellent teachers are also a part of the infrastructure. And that infrastructure must be built. I know people will disagree with me, but still I believe that there is room for tremendous improvement in that sector. What do I mean by able teachers? Able teachers are those who will be able to adapt to the changing scenario. You see, the frontiers, as I said, are moving very fast. And we really do not know what lies ahead. The things that, as I think Mr. Patrika had said, the things that we saw earlier has changed, and we never foresaw that this will happen. And many more things can also happen, we do not know. So what do we need? What shall we prepare a student for? We shall prepare a student for being an adaptive engineer who can adapt to the changing times, adapt to the new requirements as the things are coming up. Now, how can we do that? We have to be flexible about the curriculum. We cannot adhere to those earlier curricular structure, so many credits, etc., etc. But then the other trend is, okay, let's start with bachelor's in AI, bachelor's in data science. That's another extreme. But then maybe we'll see a couple of years down the line, data science goes and maybe some information science goes up or cognitive science goes up. Everywhere you will need computers and IT. Now, what will happen those students who are over-specialized? Therefore, my feeling is that we must lay proper emphasis on the fundamentals. The fundamentals do not change. For example, do I have a time bar right now, or may I continue?
No, go ahead. Please go ahead. Okay.
For example, I'd just like to give an example. Anybody, Mr. Patrika also studied database management systems, right? They are aware relational databases. Now, database, will it be obsolete? No. Now we are talking about data science. We have to store data. It is only being morphed in different forms. Might be the emphasis that was put in relational database will now change, and more Hadoop issues will come up, more of cloud computing will come up, the storage. So it will change in form, but the fundamental remains the same. When we go to cloud, we again have to do the conflict resolution. We have to look at the integrity issues. So fundamentals, think of a basic fundamental that any engineer needs to know. He must be able to design a reliable system. He must be able to design a testable system. All right? He must be able to optimize. So those are the components which will remain. Now, over that infrastructure, we cannot ignore that infrastructure. And if a student is given that backbone, they'll be able to adapt. And the other change I suggest is make the specializations modular. Based on these fundamentals, make modular things. Possibly instead of 4 hours of lecture, you can have 200 modules in many areas like AI, machine learning, and there are a couple of things. Please remember, we are only talking of computer science, but along with that, science, somebody talked about biology, humanities is also coming in, psychology is also coming in, and there is being an overlap. More and more research is being spent in human-computer interaction. What would be the user interface so that an user, an old person can use a device? All right, a disabled person can use a device. All right, a housewife can use a device. So these are not only technological issues, these are ergonomic issues, these are psychological issues, these are sociological issues. So that has to be extended in the coming future. So we have to have a broad-based preparation with the strong fundamentals on which we'll be able to adapt. Then we can say, well, we will certainly survive and grow in the tech market where the frontiers continually change. If necessary, I'll come back later.
Agree. So I think you have put some very legit points along with very great examples that students should be adaptive, and we should not focus on over specialization. Rather, we should focus on fundamentals. And to add to it, before we move to the next set onto the panel, I'm a chemical engineer. I'm not a computer science engineer. And I for 5 years I did a dual degree. I even in fact did masters in chemical engineer at IIT Bombay. And I didn't had an opportunity to work on the chemical side. And there was another fact that I was not very interested in doing chemical engineering, but I wanted to get into IIT. But what happened was that during my 5 years or 4 years at IIT, the kind of fundamentals, and which includes, like, we had a big role in humanities also. We used to have classes on humanities, we used to have classes on psychology, literature, everything. Overall, it made some fundamentals, so that when I passed out from IIT, I took my first job in Oracle. That was a hardcore software engineering company. It took me 5-6 months to learn, and as we speak, 15 years from there, I run a company and I take care of technology and product there. So very valid point. If students are focusing on fundamentals, and rather than running behind a specific specializations or the keyword buzzword which is there into the market right now, it will help them immensely. And totally agree to that particular point. So on that, I'll have second question. So we have a buzzword, correct? Data, ML, AI, which everybody. So like at Nobrokor also, when we open position for software engineer, data scientist, and front-end engineer. In software, if I get one application, in data we get 10 applications. Everybody wants to do data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence. So there are two set to the question. One is, what is the role of data as per you in your industry, in your college? And second, is this the only way for people to move forward? Is this the only stream? And or students should focus on different streams also, which can be a new stream as per you. So opening up the panel with the Mr. Partha Chatterjee, to understand what exactly are your thoughts. Like you head data at Shell Trading. So what are your thoughts, and what will be your suggestion to students here? You're on mute. You may want to unmute.
Two questions there. First, data and analytics. We leverage tremendous amount of data so that we can make the right decision across the world, from sending commodities, oil or products from US to Africa to Asia to Europe. There's a major amount of logistics and decision making involved. What commodity to explore? Is it oil? Is it gas? Where do you send it? How to package it for the customers? So we are constantly gathering information, making decisions. Please understand this, that this world is now a globally connected world, meaning we explore something somewhere to meet demand anywhere in the world. And it needs ships, it needs ports, it needs terminals and storage. So tremendous amount of data involved, and we make decisions to forecast what the demand would be, to forecast how we can get the commodity to the right place at the right time. And that needs sophisticated, uh, first collection of data from everywhere, from a guy swiping his credit card in South Africa to a terminal offloading and onloading oil or gas in Gujarat, to a manufacturer producing diesel in Australia. And all this information needs to be collected and analyzed and make decisions. So that's one thing. I would also address a question you asked while asking this data. Is this the only way? Obviously, leveraging data and analyzing data, making the right decisions is definitely one track, and that is a key part. But that is, to me, is not just data science. It's problem solving, meaning it's a chess game. It's using your brains, and you can come from different fields and pick up a little bit of data, but your basic thing is, do you understand mathematics? Do you understand modeling and how to leverage data? Another thing I would, a good suggestion about careers, and it, again, I always like to give you examples. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs took a course in calligraphy, handwriting. Why did he take that? Because he took that course because he wanted to decide how to design fonts in his Apple computer. Down the road, he took that course. What I'm saying, every gadget needs good design, good user interface. So if you are an art, or if you are a design guy, lot of these universities are giving combination courses of technology with arts, technology with music, so that you can design, you have creativity, left and right brains, so that you can design the phone better, you can design the computer interface better, you can design the terminal where you are buying gasoline better, because you need the softer skills, the combination of left and right brains, so that you can design the devices, websites, and technologies so that people can use it better. Each phone, I have a cell phone, an iPhone is a computer. 30 years back, you had to teach people how to use computer. Now you don't teach people how to use a smartphone because the interface is so easy. So in terms of, yes, data and analytics everywhere, a lot of things are being used, and there are careers there, but there is also careers combining the softer skills and the harder skills, and the potential is enormous. Thank you.
Correct. So as you rightly said, like data is part of it, but to collect the data also we need to have systems in place. So the scope only is not only is in data engineering, data science. You also need to build system around it. And as in the panel, someone was saying that we need to make reliable systems. We need to work on how exactly we make the optimized system. So it's across the breadth and depth of the computer science. Wherever technology is being applied, we will have enough opportunities in that particular area. Thank you, Mr. Partha. So coming to Professor Bose. So what are your views? So like in Techno India, do you do you have specialized courses which enable people onto the data sciences part, and or have you guys done any changes into the curriculum part where data has become the integral part of computer applications and information technology teaching and the courses?
Yeah, well, before getting into your direct questions, I want to just give you the importance of the data. So, what is the data today? If you look at the late 80s, all countries, all industries were running after petrodollar. And today, all industries, all countries are running after data dollar. And the simple example is Mukesh Ambani during the Corona period. He increased his wealth almost double, and each stockholder made his fortune double. Couple of crore proti or billionaires just selling the Mukesh stock. What he sold is data.
Data is new oil. Data is new oil, correct.
So, with this understanding, because when you are designing courses, when you are teaching courses, so you cannot close your eyes, because what is our purpose? Our purpose to market ready guy who can handle and capable. So we have a various form of computer science courses, like basic vanilla BSc computer science. Then we have an IBM sponsored course like spatial data analytics courses offered by the IBM and supported by us. Then we have a BSc data science and all those courses. So our entire courses, the data science will take a center stage of the application. So second year onwards is the data. But before that, if somebody wants to be really expertise in data, I want to stress on that. He has to be good in math. He has to be good in statistics. Just without the math and stat, particularly for the engineering students, has a tendency, oh, this is the course math and stat. Just for the managing the grade, I will manage. But my piece of advice for the students or aspiring students, stress on make your foundation solid in mathematics and statistics, then you will be the great data engineer or data analytics and all those things. And very simple thing, in a country like India, like probably we are analyzing the 7% of the data. India probably the amount of the data we are collecting, we are analyzing hardly 2%. Look at our Indian Railways or Indian Airlines reservation system or the public sector banks. Every day they are collecting the data. Hardly they are profiling anything. Hardly they're utilizing or encaching it. So with the view of all those things, all the courses in Techno India or Sister Nivedita universities are specially focused around the data, all the latest and current tools, gadget, course, content by the faculty, by the students. So it will be completely on the data-driven courses. Though it's a computer science, but as soon as the basic courses is done, so we'll be stressed on the data because data is tomorrow's dollar. So that's it.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Bose. So coming to Dr. Adar, so there are a couple of questions also for you, and what people want to know is that how exactly they should make career in to the data side. But before moving to that particular thing, wanted to pick up your brain on how exactly data along with MLAI is transforming and into the colleges and into the education system. Is there into the course side, is there any application which is coming from the artificial intelligence side? And it's not only in terms of a proper course. Does it get connected to multiple other stream also? Like one of the panelists was saying that to understand how exactly system work, you need to have a basic understanding of how exactly the UX work, what is the usability, how exactly the usability work. So on to the ML and AI side, what is the importance of other streams, and how do you guys take care of that particular thing in your college as well?
So artificial intelligence, machine learning again. So artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and the data science, you cannot really keep it in a watertight compartment. These all are interlinked. And how you wanted to do and how you are linking it. So basic vanilla courses of artificial intelligence, machine learning and deep learning, we teach together, and then the data sciences. Now that depends on the third year onwards, how the students wants to do specialization, or the master or the PhD student. So that's the way. Look at this today, because in our group, we have a hospital. And I have been being a group CEO, so I go to the corona hospitals almost twice a day, thrice a week. And when I look at the corona patient come, majority of the patient when it comes, he's completely nervous, looking at the facial expression. Okay, so there's a high potential use of diagnosing before even getting admitted to these facial expressions of what right diagnosis I could do. If I have a right artificial intelligence system, then I could assist the doctor. Hey, doctor, his mild, his corona might be in the level 1 or the level 2 stage, but his mental and the facial expression is probably looks like is a level 8 stage. Some people are nervous the moment they hear. So there are multiple. So most of the courses are the very practical oriented, and it's a unique thing. Since in our group we have multiple industries and the hospitals and IT companies, so most students get some hands-on experience, and that is our focus. And we ourselves also in a transformation journey on the education as well. So we ran the institute for last 20-25 years in a certain way, and that was my inclusion in the team. I started on the 2nd March, and I started my career as an academician with the JNU, left in academics after 4 years, then went to the industry, gone through the all kind of management consulting, IT company, run the IT company. Now joined this company, the Techno India, with a plan to change the education transformation. If somebody takes on a 1-hour course, we want to make sure that they should get another 1 hour of the actual hands-on live project, not that just a laboratory-oriented project.
Thank you. Thank you. So your views, Dr. Adak, we are really waiting to hear from you. So on to the data science side, what do you think? How can this be helpful, and what are the changes which colleges are doing to improve the role of data in the technology part?
You asking?
Dr. Adak? Dr. Chandranath Adak?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for asking. The major thing in artificial intelligence or machine intelligence, the thing is that we want to predict the future data, what will come. Suppose we all know about the weather data. In the current scenario, this pandemic scenario, or some drug designing purpose. So everywhere there is a problem of some prediction. So we want to train the machine to predict certain problems related to our practical fields. So, and in our course particularly, we teach students how to make the tools, not to use the tools. Like in other fields, like for biotechnologies, they are using our tools like what computer scientists made. But our students, for our students, we particularly teach how to make those tools and understand the nitty-gritty of the inside algorithm. Like as Professor Basu said, like the student has to know the fundamental things. It is a very valid point. And one more thing I want to point out, that before like entering into the education also, like our family setup or our mind setup, we always think of job, like how I will get job, like this I have to learn, I will get some job or not. Like everything is job oriented. But at first we have to build the knowledge. Then if we gather the knowledge, like no one can stop us. Like we obviously create some opportunity and we will give others job. Like we don't have to like find the jobs here. And like I am giving one example, like nowadays, like YouTube channel, it is very popular channel, like youtube.com. So one person is just teaching. So he is making like lakhs of rupees. So that is not a problem to make money or to get the job. It is also like entrepreneurship. Is someone is cooking. So to making the money, it is not a problem. So my what information I want to convey is at first we have to gather the knowledge, like proper technical knowledge, how to analyze those data, how to create the basic tools, and then we want to like predict or analyze those data. That's it. Thank you.
Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry. So my question is to Dr. Basu. A lot of students are asking in the chat that they are not from computer science background, or if they want to move to computer science background, one is like what exactly they should be doing after their 10th. And if I don't have a computer science degree, how exactly I can move to computer science stream and work on IT and application programming.
So,
Well, I mean, whom are you asking? I mean,
Dr. Basu, Dr. Anupam Basu.
okay. All right. So, yes, today, you see, the job, there are different types of jobs on the plate. Okay, there are different types of jobs on the plate. It's not that a mechanical engineer cannot go to very high level of computer science development. That's also possible. That's also possible. But right now, if we think of that, if I think of in terms of jobs, computer science or IT jobs, then there are whatever engineering you study. Along with that, you will have to look at the languages and tools that are required by the job market. For example, every engineering college teaches all the students with C or C++ to start with. But the point to note is what we intend to teach is not the language C or C++. What we intend to teach is how problem solving can be done through programming. All right. And C or C++ is just a language or tool. Now, if they learn it in their first year and they are studying mechanical engineering or electrical engineering, now there are so many avenues of learning on the side or taking electives, other languages, right? Today, people are talking of R, people are talking of Python, even Java is taking a backseat, I find. And so a few days back, Perl was coming up. So you have to learn the tools. That is one part of the thing. And using that, you can certainly, if you are sharp, if you are intelligent, if you are imaginative. You see, I want to just mention this thing, that any engineering study also has got a philosophy that is built in. That is the philosophy of problem solving. A mechanical engineer also solves a problem using his tools, or nowadays, as I said, CS or IT is embedded everywhere in CNC tools, or even 3D printing is today, of course, very much used by mechanical people. And that's a product of CS and computer science. Now, so in that way, the things are, the areas have merged. So you have to have that particular philosophy. Now, there will be different categories of students. Some people would like to have a job, and for that, they'll have to prepare themselves for that particular job. I am really pained when I see the polytechnics in our country taking a backseat. Those were very good places where people could have could learn the tricks of the trade and could fit them in. And so that is one category. The other category, there will be some students who will be willing to contribute more at more detailed level. For example, what Dr. Chandranath was saying, he was talking of machine learning. Now in machine learning, AI, he has said that, or Dr. Shankhu Bose also said that there is no compartmentalization. Now in machine learning courses, you learn SVM, you learn k-means, k-nearest neighbor, you learn different classification algorithms. But there were people who developed that SVM algorithm. So some people will delve deeper to make some algorithm that is better than SVM. And some will be happy to learn the usage of SVM and smart enough to adapt to another tool when it comes and use SVM for solving different machine learning problems. So that is based on the interest of the person. So what I feel is you have to keep your windows open. You must have the willingness to learn the logic, the philosophy of whatever you learn, and then you can certainly find the path. For example, Mr. Gupta, you are a student of IIT Bombay, and and you are from chemical engineering. And do you know that the open source movement is being led at IIT Bombay from the chemical engineering department by Professor Kannan Moudgalla? I don't know whether
Yes, I was a student. I was a
So
student.
where is the barrier? Now Kannan is leading the FOSSI movement, and computer science people are using, right? So that is, I don't find that sort of compartmentalization among engineers.
So and I am one example. I am a chemical engineer by degree, but I do anything and everything which happens in IT and data science. So coming to Mr. Vinod Rajgopal. So on to the industry side. So taking the industry perspective from you, when you are hiring, and you are on mute, sir. You may want to unmute, Mr. Rajgopal. Mr. Rajgopal. So coming to take the industry view from you, that when you go out to hire people, and let's say you are hiring for a specific role, which needs computer science understanding, or which needs information technology understandings or data understanding, do you always look for a professional degree, expertise in that particular field, or do you go by the experience or what a person is capable of doing?
Yeah, I think I would answer that at two levels, right? I mean, one is there is certain minimum qualification that you need for your CV to get scrutinized and pass it through the system. But once that is sort of done, the number one criteria is not about what technology you know. It's not about what programming language you know. I think it's what Dr. Basu just mentioned. It's two things, right? One is, do you know how to solve a problem? And if you know, can you structure it and articulate it? If you can't do that, it doesn't matter how much of programming language you know. I mean, the discussion will stop in about 10 minutes. Typical interview will stop. So if you look at most of these, and I saw there was a question to say, how do I know how to do this? How does this work? I mean, one of the ways you can actually go into any of these management consulting firms and look at their case studies. Right? There are a lot of examples which people publish about how to do case studies. Right? And if you look at those case studies, it's actually solving a problem. It is not just directly saying, I need a technology. Typically, if I actually walk around and say, I know Java, what I can do, it's more like saying, I have an answer, what is a question? Or, it's more like saying, look, I have a hammer, what can I do with it? Now, well, I know how to use a hammer, that doesn't mean I can solve all the problem. Okay, then I say, look, hammer doesn't work, so let me learn how to use a screwdriver. Let me learn how to use a spanner. Now, if you keep on doing this, at one point in time, I'm going to come and say, I can repair your car. That's when you're solving a problem. Learning how to use a hammer, learning how to use a screwdriver is actually basic necessities, right? And nobody's actually interested in that at a certain level, right? Now, yes, those are integral, important things that you need to have to build your career, right? How to use the different tools. But bottom line is, how do you articulate and structure your thoughts? If you can't do that, you have a problem, right? So when you learn, that's the first thing you need to learn. I mean, how to actually articulate and structure things, right? And one other question which I saw is look, I started my life as coding And how did I end up as a management consultant? Now, it'll be more interesting to know. My background is physics, chemistry, and mathematics. That's what I did for my Bachelor of Science. Right? I had nothing to do with computers. Now, it was actually even in my college days where there were problems in the college where I could see that there are a lot of things which I could automate with the computers at those days. Now, I was solving problems there. I continued doing programming for a while. At some point in time, you start to think, look, I mean, it's not just about solving technical problems, right? You want to be able to influence how the businesses work. You want to influence how people think, right? Then when you sort of got sufficient knowledge about, like, the technology tools, how to apply those technology tools, now we want to get into the place where I want to consult, right? So that transition from being a coder or being like, a science graduate to becoming a coding development guy, to become a technology specialist, to becoming a consultant, I mean, it's actually a gradual process, right? And if I say that, look, I want to be a technology consultant in about 20 years back, I mean, I don't know if anybody would listen to advice that I will make, right? I mean, it's like, saying I just finished MBBS and I can actually give you a good consultancy on a neurosurgery. Is someone going to listen to you? Nobody's going to listen to you. So you got to build that path to get there, right? But fundamentally, I think I would re-echo what Dr. Anupam Basu was saying. I mean, it is about learning problem solving, right? And to learn problem solving, first you need to learn how to identify a problem. And sometimes we take this for granted. We think it is a very simple thing to do. But sometimes even something as simple as, if I tell you, I want to drink something, do you know my problem? How do you know my problem? I mean, how are you going to give me an answer? I mean, do you want to give me a cup of coffee, or, I'm really dying of thirst and it's just a glass of water, or I want a glass of whiskey? I mean, how do you get to that answer? That's the process of problem solving and understanding the problem and then getting to the answer, right? So I think too much emphasis on tools may not really get you the right answer. Yes, it is necessary, but that's not all. That's probably about 20-30% of what you need to know.
Yeah. Thank you. Mr. Vinod. So coming to Mr. Partha, to take your view. So like the general consensus which I see is like anybody can do anything, right? And it's all about the basic fundamentals, all about problem solving. But in Shell and in specialized industries, is there a need for specialized courses, for masters, for the PhDs to do the specific job? Or with time, with data, with machine learning, anybody will be able to do anything which they want to do? What are your views?
That's an excellent question, actually. So, yes, you will need human experts to work with artificial intelligence, with the computer technology. I'll give you an example. Say we are deciding where to drill for oil. Right now, say a geologist who has a PhD in geologist and modeling, say looks at 100 spreadsheets a week, okay, and then makes a decision where he should drill. With artificial intelligence and machine learning, we can look at probably 100 million spreadsheets, apply the basic rules which he has in his brain, and give him the top 10 spreadsheets which he should look deeper into. So the combination of experts, the human expert and the computer expert, makes it an explosive combination. So what happens, the same geologist who was looking at 100 spreadsheets can in fact is looking at 100 million spreadsheets, but he's spending more time at the top 10 best cases where he should look at. And that's the combination we want to look at. Like, for example, with like Shankhu was talking about, is that if a doctor, if a computerized teledoc can look at your symptoms and say, hey, these are the top 2 or 3 things which now the specialist needs to look at. So this combination makes it, really efficient. And another interesting thing which I wanted to tell you, you guys are talking about problem solving, and I will give you a small, benefit of computer science and applications and problem solving is, it's like a chess game, like solving a math problem. Some people will take 10 minutes, some people will take 10 hours to solve that problem. There's advantage. If you are smart, if you can pick up trends, if you can, pick up algorithms quicker, you can get your job done at a much faster pace and have some fun on WhatsApp or watch some games and stuff. So that's one of the things for the students, which is a plus. You become a master and you can solve problems quicker, you will have more time. Benefit of computer science. I personally live that.
Thank you, and thanks for the very good thought. Like technology can be a tool, but human intelligence can make use of that particular tool to take the better and the faster decisions. Yeah, Dr. Basu, please go ahead. You have something to add. You are on mute, sir.
I just want to add one aspect to what Mr. Partha Chatterjee said. Being from computer science, I feel that a basic idea of algorithms and algorithmic thinking is required for all engineers. We are talking about problem solving, but algorithmic thinking, not necessarily programming. It may not have anything to do. Given a problem, how do I decompose the problem? How do I solve each part of the problem? How do I take the decisions? That, in school parlance, your basic flowchart, but there is so much into it. Given a problem, can you really make a set of flowcharts by which you can solve a problem? That is applicable to a mechanical engineer, that is applicable to a chemical engineer, that's applicable to any engineer. And that is, I look at it as a philosophical tool, and it may sound a little lighter. In our life also, all the time, we take recourse to such algorithms and optimizations, not in technology, but in our life. So that is something that is very much required to be exposed to for all engineers.
Thank you, sir. Coming to the next question, and which I feel it's a very good question, where one of the student on the chat is asking, how big is the role of communication skill in getting a job in information technology, or rather, how big is the role of communication and skill? I'll rephrase the question. What is the role of? Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So the question that you asked, in fact, the earlier question we haven't finished, because you asked that do we ever really require a master's degree, MBA degree, or PhD degree to get this kind of a specialized job or nothing? So I thought that I had something I've been practicing for a while, and why these degrees are required and what you get out of this degree, or your day-to-day job probably you may not. But before that, I want to just quote, I was attending a keynote session of a Bill Gates, and one of the panelists asked Bill Gates that how do you select a candidate? Bill Gates' answer was simple. His answer was, I take 10 minutes. I ask a question. Have you remembered any of your failure, glorified failure? If somebody can recognize his glorified failure and if he can articulate well, then he is in Microsoft. If he's not, then he's not in a Microsoft. The same thing, the model that I follow the model called MAC. The three factors that, because I've done several hundred of entry level to the C-level recruitment. So the first one is the maturity, second one is an articulation, third one is an communication. So if these are the courses, like if you do the more and more the higher courses, this gives you and help you get matured, help you develop the skill on articulation, and give you confidence. So these three things are important. And the fourth question that you just asked is in a communication skill. Yes, it is absolutely. And I think, because I lived 22 years in US, then I lived in Germany, I learned German and all those things. sometimes because of our colonial mentality, so we thought that unless I am in a English medium school, my English people will be, it doesn't matter. Then Japanese, Chinese, French people would not do the business in the world. Question is, you do not have to, when you speak English, nobody are checking your grammar or anything. You have to be confident first. You have to articulate well, speak slow. So that's why the communication skills is important to get in a good job in IT. It's not that it speaks absolutely fluent English or very anglicized English. Anglicized English, yeah, you look smart, but as you said that anglicized English make you look smart, but you will get an audience if the English has a content. So that is the most important part. Because I personally come from Bengali medium. I'm from a very rural small school. But all the way become a partner in a KPMG or Bearing Point, it was not an easy job for me in United States. But I achieved it. And these are my personal experience and practice. I thought that I should share in this forum because there are a lot of questions in the chat box. I do see that people have a fear of communication, Bengali medium, these, that, Hindi medium. These are all excuse. So I thought that it will be probably the valuable suggestion for them.
Sure. Yeah.
Let
Thank
me
you.
add one more thing, Shankhu, and Shankhu makes an excellent point. It's the communication skill leader. Also, it's a two-way communication because we are solving problems. You also have to understand communication is, Shankhu made a great point about, explaining your stance to your customer, but you also have to understand the problem. Like when the guy and circulate and think about the solution. So it's listening is also a very important skill so that you understand the problem and then communicate back the solution. So
Yeah. Thank you. So, Dr. Chandranath Adak, what are your thoughts? Like, is communication a real big thing, or for a IT job? If I'm just doing a coding, why exactly I need to communicate? Why should I have great communication skill?
I am sharing my personal experience. Like during my PhD, one of my professor was from Taiwan, Taiwanese professor. So he hardly could speak English, very few English. But he had project from Australian defense, Taiwan defense, like USA defense. So what I understood, like it's my totally my personal opinion. What I understood that we have to build up the knowledge. And in his lab, few Chinese students, few Taiwanese students were there, and they were very hard work. Like they was working around like 16 hours on a chair, and they hardly like went out. So and they could not like communicate properly. But one of our panelists like told that you have to listen. You have to listen and understand the problem. But they could understand your problem, like the problem formulation. They can understood that. And very little English, they were not fluent in English, but they can code, they can share the knowledge like with like medium of like communication. But at firm, for my point of view, like communication is like good communication is required, but what our misconception is like communication is not always in English, like fluent English. That does not mean you have to like communicate your problems, like or communicate through your knowledge. So I think so. Thank you for asking.
So if I can summarize it on your behalf, so you say communication is not only about the language what you're speaking and how good the language you speak, and this is what Dr. Shankhu and Dr. Basu was all saying. It's all about how, if you are able to communicate your point, be it in any language, or if you have the knowledge, if you are able to pass on that particular knowledge and communicate with the person with whom you are working, that is more important. So your thoughts, Mr. Vinod, you being on the consulting and in the BCG, I'm sure you'll have an opinion how important is communication in life, in any job, what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I completely agree with Dr. Adak, who's talking about communication is not about command over English. Right? I mean, then again, what is communication, right? Now, if I actually take myself, I mean, I have worked in Taiwan, I worked in Japan, I worked in South America. And if I go to South America, I mean, people speak Spanish and they don't speak English, and we have the same problem. But wherever I go, I've sort of managed to do my work very well. Again, when I communicate there, I mean, as an architect, how do I communicate? Architects communicate through blocks, pictures, diagrams, right? If you can articulate on a whiteboard, draw the boxes correctly, like, and talk your story, even a guy who understands 20% of the English exactly knows what you're talking, and he will take a pen up there and come there and up in front of the board and start drawing with you. That's effective communication, right? Now, if I was managing a project, I mean, it's a different communication as well, right? I mean, as long as I have a very clear plan and say, look, activity 1 needs to be done, 2 needs to be done, 3 needs to be done, 4 needs to be done. If it is very structured and very well written, and if I knew exactly what it was, language is sometimes immaterial. Same goes for coding. I mean, if you actually have some of these design elements and all this stuff very clear in your head, then the language you're talking is either C or Java or whatever. I mean, the guy will know that. But now it's actually the entire mechanics of, like, how that information that you want to convey is conveyed, right? And that is normally not just spoken words. It's actually the way you document it, way you draw it. And which is why, if you look at management consulting, I mean, a lot of the panelists here have been in the management consulting world. The emphasis that you put on how PowerPoint slides are articulating the message that you have is more than 50-60%, right? It's not about the content. Sometimes it's about articulation of the content, and that actually is not just language. And the message that normally we tell people is, if you actually articulate a message in writing on 10 slides, if I send it to somebody, that guy should get exactly the same message that you're trying to articulate without you talking about. If you can do that, you are a very good communicator. And I haven't spoken anything yet, right? I mean, when that happens.
Yeah, and I think rightly said. And two of the examples are like music. Music has no particular form. Like music can be built anywhere in any language, and people understand that particular part. And so is the code. Correct. You can a code can be written by a Chinese person or a person from South America, or it can be an Indian, but they can just everybody, even though they don't speak English or Hindi, a common language, they can understand that particular thing. So yeah, it's all about.
Yeah, but I just got to add one more thing. I mean, look, while I say what I say, I mean, end of the day, when you want to have career progression, when you want to move up, you have to learn the verbal way of communicating, because that is no excuse. There is no escape from that, right? You will bump into people who are very important in your life, who probably has 20 seconds, 30 seconds to talk to you. And if you do not articulate your message in that right time, in the right way, nothing is going to work in your life, right? I mean, you can be a very good programmer in life for a long time, or a project manager in a long time. But if you want to go up the corporate ladder, yeah, you need to learn how that communication happens in a very crisp and concise way.
Perfect. So, so I'll take the last question, and I think this is another very good question. So, someone is asking, does problem solving comes with experience, or you can learn problem solving? And I'll go across everybody onto the panel, starting with Mr. Vinod. Take your views, and then we'll move across the panel. This is a very good question, according to me.
Yeah, I mean, look, problem solving comes with experience, right? Problem solving comes with experience. Problem solving comes with understanding of the domain knowledge that you're operating in, right? And problem solving also comes with a good methodical way of doing things. There is a methodology, I mean, on problem solving, right? It's not randomly like, I just keep hearing and I just keep giving you answers. There are some basic rules around, like, when somebody gives me a problem, do I give him an answer or do I ask him questions? Right? Now, there is a certain way I should actually approach that problem. I mean, do I get this problem and I actually ask him 3 questions, then I put up 3 potential options, and then how do I choose and narrow down the options and say, look, that's the solution. That's a very methodical way of doing it, right? Now, yes, there's a methodology to it. Then there is a domain expertise to it, right? I mean, if you ask me to solve a problem in the medicine field, I mean, about how somebody gets sick or not sick, I mean, my logic will only go so far. I mean, because at the end of the day, if I need to know something, I need to have domain expertise too. Yeah. Right? So it's a structured way, it's a domain expertise, and sort of this coming together is a problem solving. Now, does it come with experience? Yes, with experience, your ability to solve problem becomes quicker. But when there is lack of experience, what you should learn is how to leverage other people to solve your problem too, right? Because if I'm very structured, I will actually get to a point where I have 3 questions which I don't know the answer, and I'll pick 3 experts and I will ask them for their opinion, and they will give me the answer, which I just structured and I got the right answer. And here is where problem solving happens without much experience too.
Yeah. Thank you. Coming to you, Mr. Patra, what are your thoughts?
Um, Vinod made some good points on domain knowledge and problem solving, but I will, because there are a lot of students, I will come from a different angle. And I will, I see a lot of your questions on computer science and stuff. Problem solving is about using your brains and tuning your brains to unknown things with knowledge around you to solve new stuff, new problems. And I will give you one thing which is not good. When we were applying for IIT, we also, studied and went to IIT, but we also watched sports. We also wanted to do something else. This concept of going to 4 years of tutorial at different colleges and just being stuck without being able to solve daily problems, without living the normal life, is not healthy for problem solving. That becomes rote learning. Rote learning is anathema to problem solving. So guys, if many of you are students, please make sure it's not just about bookish knowledge. It's about letting your brain and mind flourish. And that's how you can adjust to situation, adapt, and think about ways not in the book. Life is not a book. Life is about handling situations. Computer algorithms is about fine tuning your things so that you can deliver a solution. So I agree with having the foundation, learning new things, and another thing is learning new things. You have to be adaptable. You have to pick up new technology. It's not like I learned C and for the whole extent of my life I will just use that language. That's not going to happen. So two things: think out of the box, enjoy life, learn to handle situations and not be bookish. One. Number two, being adaptable, flexible, and learning new things. And that will help you with problem solving.
Thank you. Thank you. Coming to you, Dr. Anupam Basu, what are your thoughts?
You become a better problem solver by solving more and more problems. That you know from your school days also, right? And with experience, certainly what we gain is what we call in computer science parlance some heuristics. All right. Quickly, I know that this will probably work to solve this particular problem. All right. That sort of experience we gather, and if I'm intelligent, I can apply the proper heuristics over there. And as Mr. Patrika said, the more we are in real life, we learn problem solving. I'll just give you an example for that matter. Suppose your friend is somehow, your friend likes a lady, but is not being able to express that to their parents, to his parents, and has come to you, and you are asked to sort it out somehow. So that is also a problem solving case. Now for that, you have to have, if you successfully want to solve that, you will need some extra information, right? What is the mood or the temperament of the parents? What is the right time to tell it to them? And what is the best way of telling it to them, etc., etc., etc. So more information you get, and if you can manipulate that properly, you solve problems better. So therefore, knowledge, information, basic intelligence, and heuristics, which comes up. And another thing is very important. I just want to relate it to this question and to the other earlier question. There is a communication thing. Confidence is something very important. When you face the interview, or when you take up to solve a particular problem, please have confidence in yourself. You know, you may be a little weak in English. You should try to make it better, no doubt, because English being a linked language. But nevertheless, if you are thorough in your area, and if you know that you know, people will understand. But never hesitate to articulate. Now, regarding problem solving, as I said, it increases with experience, but it also requires the practice, the methodology you should know, and your basic intelligence should be sharpened. I just want to bring in another word of caution because there are many students, and this is something I often think of. Many of the programmings that people are doing now are thanks to Java and Python, that often you take suitable classes and fit those in and solve a particular problem, right? That is one way of quickly solving problems, very effective. Industries like it. But just for your own learning, try to solve from the basics. That's why try to write some basic programs. For example, if you are asked to, given a set of data, you are asked to sort the data and search for the fifth maximum largest data, right? So you can have a sort program, apply that, search program, apply it 5 times or something like that. That is one way of solving it. It will quickly solve it. But it is really interesting. It's really rewarding if you try to write it down, at least when you are a student, from scratch and write it down. That will enable your problem solving skills when you really build up the algorithm. So that is another important thing. I request all my student friends who are present here to keep it in mind. Let's try to avoid the shortcuts as much as possible.
Thank you. So coming to you, Dr. Chandranath, what are your thoughts on problem solving with experience?
Yeah, all the panelists are right actually. I just supporting just online center. There is like two words, problem and solving. So I have seen in my career, lots of people are jumping to solving the problem. At first, we have to understand the problem. We have understood the problem, then only you can solve the problem.
Thank you. Very nicely said. Like, to solve the problem, we should first know the problem. Correct. And closing words from you, Dr. Bose. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, actually, Dr. Adak said is a very good thing. And it's an Einstein has a famous quote. So if you want to solve the problem, think about the problem 55 minutes and then 5 minutes to provide a solution. So that's the way the problem. And to me, I go back a little bit before. As I said that, if somebody do good at maths and stats, so he will be the good problem solver. To me, how I form every problem as an operation research problem. Either put it in a linear programming bracket or I put it in a non-linear programming bracket. Problem is that is my function. And this, or Dr. Vasu said that there are so many constraints. So I optimize which constraint to play to optimize the problem. Some of them as a get a complete solution, that's a linear programming. Some of them near to the optimization, then I'll get a non-linear. So that's the way. So when I teach operation research in a class, so I have tried to give a practical life example. So most of our life problems are fall in the non-linear programming category. Everything is a problem, okay? That's the function. So that's the way that how the taking the problem and how you articulate, that's the thing. But one thing I would like to close with that, problem solving again, it's a most hot skill job in the coming days for the next 12 years. If you look at the World Labor Market Bureau, there are the two skills which is required for all computer related job. One is in a cognitive skill, second is a problem solving skill. And this is a specialized art. And there are many courses, whether it's in a management degree or in a computer science, the art of problem solving or the different form and fashion of problem solving. Basic things is a problem solving. Life is full of problems, so we need to know how to solve, whether it's in a computer or non-computer.
Thank you. Thank you. So, before I wrap up the panel and summarize what we discussed, I'll request each panelist to maybe spend 10 seconds or 15 seconds to have some word of guidance for the students who are there with us, that how and what they should do to shape up their careers, and if anything which they can learn from your journey till date. So we can start from you, Dr. Bose.
So for my suggestion for the students, before they selecting whether computer science, chemical, mechanical, whatever the course, next 7 days, they should do the exercise at home. What is my passion and what is my dream? And they should write at least 3 times in a week, 3 different piece of papers. And after 7 days, they try to see that what is my passion. If there's a passion, if there's a dream, then it will fulfill. Whether computer science, non-computer science, even if you're a history graduate, you can become a best computer programmer at later stage of the life if you have a passion and a dream. So my suggestion for the students, in fact, in Techno, we initiated this called passion coaching. So first 1 month with the first year student, we will be doing the passion and dream coaching for them, because if there's a passion, then people will do. If there's no passion, no dream, then it's the forcing, like taking horse to the river to make him drink. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Coming to you, Dr. Adak, your thoughts.
Personally, I believe that first learn, then earn. So you have to, like for the opportunity or for the job opportunity, you have to at first learn, gather the knowledge. Then focus for the job and opportunities.
Thank you. Learn and then earn. Coming to you, Dr. Anupam Basu, your advice to students.
Life is beautiful, you know. It's difficult, but life is also very beautiful. So, follow your heart. Do whatever you love to do and do it well. Whatever you love to do it and do it well. Do not take shortcuts. Okay? And ultimately, whatever discipline, as another panelist just now said, if later on you find that you want to go to advertising, and if you have done something in whatever discipline, but with putting your heart and soul into it, you can move to advertising and do well there. Therefore, do not be too focused on immediate job opportunity. Okay, job opportunities will change, it will be there, but even if you take computer science, then try to love it. Do not think only of job. There are so many beautiful nuances in the subject. Since today's panel is on computer science, I assume that many of the students are eager to go for IT or computer science. Just do not think of just quick fix solutions. Love it. There are many facets, theoretical, systems, applications. Any one of those, one or two of those you will like, go deep into that. Other things will be taken care of automatically. Do not put the cart before the horse. Let the horse pull the cart. That is my advice.
Very well said. Thank you, sir. Coming to you, Mr. Partha Chatterjee, your thoughts.
Thank you. Thanks for organizing this panel. I will quote two great, personalities who have always motivated me. First, Steve Jobs. He was dying of cancer, and in his last famous speech at Stanford University, at their graduation speech, he talked about stay hungry, stay foolish, meaning stay hungry, stay motivated, and stay foolish, meaning stay excited about learning new things. So be motivated and be eager and adaptable to learn new things. Those two should drive you. That is the how. But why? Why comes from another legend, a famous legend, who inspires me all through my life, Swami Vivekananda. When you are born in this world, leave a mark. Be motivated to do something which will leave a mark. So dream big, learn a lot, and do something not for making money, not just for making money or buying cars, but doing something for humanity. And if you do something, be nobroker.com, be it iPhone, be it Facebook, if it impacts people's lives, you will make money, you will be successful. But your driver should be to make an impact on humanity, on making lives better for people. And that's how technology and computer science should be used. Thank you.
Thank you.
Opportunity.
Thank you. Powerful words. Thank you, sir. So coming to the Mr. Vinod, your closing thoughts and piece of advice for the students.
Yeah, I mean, sort of reiterate with what most people are saying, but I would put it probably in a simple analogy. I mean, if I actually give you three black boxes, and say all have good food in it, choose the best food you want to eat. I mean, how would you choose? I mean, it's a black box. You don't know what's inside the box, and I'm telling you, choose the best food. And I mean, that's the situation you guys are in today. I mean, choose the best food. And now, would you put your hand in the first one and take it and leave with it? Or would you first try smelling it, lifting it, looking at the weight, how big is it, make some assessment about what it is, and then probably put your hand in. And look, end of the day, when you put your hand in and you got something bad, doesn't matter. Put it back and try to open the next one, right? So that's the reality. I mean, because there is no other magic way that you're going to peep through the black box and figure out what's the food inside. That's reality. So just you have to accept that you are looking at black boxes, don't know what the hell it is, and you will figure out as you go.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. I think it was a wonderful panel. A very, very. It was actually very learning, and it was an immensely proudful moment for me to be moderating this particular panel. So, few things which I have gathered, and I'll quickly summarize in next 30 seconds. Is like everybody echoes to the point that running behind a particular specialization or a technology is not the right way. We should focus on fundamentals, basic fundamentals. If we know, we can do anything. It takes time to learn, and problem solving with experience becomes better. And to do any job, communication is important. And when we say communication is not only about speaking a great language, which can be English or anything, but it's all about how exactly you articulate your point, how exactly you communicate what exactly you are trying to do. And so articulation is the key point in communication. Keep solving the problems. Problem solving is the way, and technology is an enabler. In the end, technology can help you take the decisions faster. It can help you solve the problems faster. And once we solve the problems faster using technology, we have more problems to solve. So technology is not going to eradicate any of the jobs. It will create jobs. It will be just new problems, new jobs, and new kind of challenges going forward in the world. Thank you. So this is all from our side. This was really wonderful speaking to each one of you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, Shivanita.
Thank you very much, Akhil. Fantastic. It was fantastic having you here and every other speaker. We wish to see you soon back again. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Thank you very much.